Paul's fighting an inanimate object over there.
You know. Oh, I'm missing a piece. Don't mind me.
A piece of what? Your brain or the bone?
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much.
I don't really know what it says about anything anymore at this point. Maybe because it's a big company or it's a hot company or whatever. A lot of
Mhm.
people leave an OpenAI. Their CTO just left.
Yep, I know. And this was the woman who has appeared at their events, like at their product
Mm-hmm.
launches and stuff, and really well spoken, obviously super smart.
Yep.
Um, yeah, they, they try to explain it away, like, we're a different company. They are very Google-like in that way. Google, 20 years ago when they were
Mm-hmm.
doing their initial stuff, it was like this is a weird company, and even compared to Google now, Google's very traditional in some ways. Um, Yeah, they're weird. So I think there's an element to that, but actually, this kind of volatility in this kind of a company right now, this should be this should be warning signals all over Microsoft, right? So
Yeah.
not as bad as what happened with Sam Altman at the end of last year, but it's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Just a lot of people leaving. So
It's weird.
either one of two things is happening. Your point, it's just a weird company and things are changing and whatever, and people have been there a few years are like, I'm out.
Yeah,
Or, I mean, that's one way. They're potentially
that's how
being,
you would,
yeah,
kind of explain it away, I guess.
where a lot of them are just getting poached. I mean, that's right. If you're looking for
Yeah,
AI expertise, who are you going to go try to steal from?
right.
Microsoft. Just kidding. OpenAI.
Yeah. So I was gonna try to find the quote. I can't, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But yeah, that woman, the CTO,
Her
so
name is-
her quote. When people leave and like they're kind of forced out, and they say something like, "I wanted to spend more time with my family."
Mhm.
That isn't her quote. It was, yeah. Here we go. Is this it? No, that's not it. I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is a terrible story, poorly told.
Mhm.
So it was sort of like, I just want to give myself some space. I want to explore some things. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like a nothing ball of comments. Like what? What are you talking about? So I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's
The,
very
the
strange.
other interesting story that came out yesterday. So Meta had their little whatever event, and it seemed like whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but a story has come out. So they created a device called Orion, which, for effectively all purpose terms for us, it's vaporware because it's something they're never going to sell. They did show it off, but it's apparently prohibited, like too expensive, whatever. But the person now running this stuff was a former Microsoft employee who bought the Meta like Ray-Bans and just
Yep.
wrote like, "Hey, this is how you fix the product." And then like,
Right.
"How about you fix the product?" And they just hired
And
her.
what's the name on that person? Is it?
I cannot remember her name either. Hold on. This because
There's a
this
lot.
is a couple years ago.
Yeah. I
Hires
mean, so
Microsoft.
Meta poached a bunch of guys in the whole, and people in the whole,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you call it, mixed reality / HoloLens part of Microsoft, some time ago. It seems like a lot of ex-Microsofties end up at Amazon. That's been a big thing, and increasingly at Meta, because they're trying to make this push. It's like, Chris Sells was one of those guys. He was one of the original .NET, C#,
Yep.
WPF guy, from a million years ago. He was Longhorn 2003, right, on stage writing code with Don Box. Don Box went to Meta, brought Chris Sells with him at
Mm-hmm.
some point. Chris Sells, I think, is possibly back at Google, and which is the other one, by the way, working on Flutter, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever. So you have these guys, and sorry, I keep saying guys, but people in the Microsoft sphere where they kind of want to move on and do more of that type of stuff, of the type of stuff they're familiar with. And Meta, I think it's
Yeah.
pointless, but they are building a platform,
Yeah.
which is what a lot of these people are experts at. So,
So her name was Lee Chen Miller, which, by the way, I
yeah.
typed into Bing. Meta hires Microsoft glasses. Literally nothing that would be even remotely close. Actually, one of your posts comes up throughout. It says Meta
Oh,
reveals Quest 3 headset or 3S headset. Not all
yeah.
that
I mean,
useful
that's
for this.
right.
When I Googled it, all the
Yeah.
results are relevant. Anyways,
Right. I was going to say, did AI write this headline? Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Gabe All is still there. He went over to Meta
He
from
was,
Microsoft to work on
it might,
VR.
God, the company might have still been called Facebook when he went. I
Oh, I think it
mean,
was.
it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's weird. Well, it's not that weird, right? I mean, this is for people like us who are kind of like the Windows client, that
Mm-hmm.
community. You see Microsoft's shift, cloud computing, and now AI, and you're not getting, it's just not super interesting what's happening on the client. And so for the people inside the company, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, some of them have those, I don't know, whatever it is, experiences or expertise that they can make that shift over to maybe Azure or something like that. But as far as like, the platform level work they were doing, it's happening at other companies now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you also got to
that's
think about it too from a career. Like if you're 25 years old and you're
yeah.
going to start your career, do you really want to bet it on Windows? Like,
No, I mean
right?
that
You're not
that's not even that's a
right.
question no one actually asks, right? No, for these guys, these are people in their probably 40s, 50s, probably 50s more often, who have been around a while. They're not ready to retire. They've got plenty of work to do, or time to work or whatever, where they want to work. And Meta now throws a lot of money at them,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's part of it. They have so much cash, and I'm sure they get big signing bonuses, huge amounts of money. They probably get paid more if they stay longer, et cetera, et cetera. So you create this situation where, like, I'd be stupid not to at least try this. I guess I'll be flying a
Yeah.
lot between California and Redmond or whatever, or Seattle area. But I don't know. I just I don't. This all feels kind of futile to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Though Facebook is somewhat, not quite, but somewhat in a similar position to Google, right? Their means of revenue are
Yep.
advertising. That is it.
Yep. Yeah.
And they would love to find other avenues to do that, to make money.
Yeah. It's easy to be condescending or have a cynical attitude about these companies because they're basically advertising businesses, right? But they use this money to create software platforms and services, and they they think of themselves, I'm sure, as technology companies. I think a lot of the world does too, and they want, they are building platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can, like I said, be cynical about it, but on the other hand, they're funneling this money into, they're trying to build these things out. Google has had a lot of success, I would say, with whatever you want to call it, workspace docs, that kind of. Gmail obviously is,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And and then there are consumer services. But I'm just saying, they're targeting businesses. They started like Microsoft did with smaller businesses, right? Kind of moving up the chain, and they built some stuff that's really good that just works. Facebook, excuse me, or Meta, whatever. I appreciate them trying to be legit or whatever it is, but
You never.
I if they could, if they were overwhelmingly successful creating this VR, mixed reality, whatever they're calling it, platform, it's still going to be like a small thing, relatively speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem to me. It's not, it's not the next wave. It could be a thing, I guess, but it's not going to take over for phones or computers or things like that.
Maybe they could build a Facebook phone.
I think,
They did do that and it failed.
yeah, I was going to say, like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So